What is up, YouTube? T-Roy here. Today, you probably saw the thumbnail, obviously, so you kind of know what the video is about. It's a really sad video for me, but I already went through my mourning phase of what I'm fixing to show you and talk to you about. But it's basically about water and what water will do to your instruments. Now I know you're thinking, oh wow, Copernicus, you know, that's real revelation, like we didn't know that you know, water is going to hurt your guitar. But what the things that you can do and things you don't think about, I kind of want to tell my story and tell you what I'm talking about. Let me get it for you. This old case here, the case was also in it, but this is a 1975 Gibson L5 Custom, and it was in perfect condition. This guitar belonged to my dad, and I'll tell you the story on it, but you can see it's destroyed. Now I would never get rid of it, but this guitar right now, it sells for about $6,000 to $7,000 is what you can find them for, roughly. You know, I've seen them a little higher, I've seen them a little lower depending on the shape they're in. I've seen them as low as $5,000, but then, you know, the shape this was in, this was definitely a $7,000 piece, $6,000 to $7,000 guitar. But for me, I didn't care if it was $100,000. This was sentimental. This is my dad's. I would have never gotten rid of it. I'm never going to get rid of it even now. A lot of you guys are looking at it and going, what in the heck happened? I'm going to tell you the story, but before I do, and I know also I'm going to hear from you guys, oh, you could get it fixed. Well, the work that would be put into this and the money it would cost, I don't know, I don't even know if it could. And there's so many parts that would have to be changed, everything else, and that's what's sentimental to me. This was my dad's, and my dad is still alive, but he has Parkinson's dementia. He doesn't play anymore. He used to be an incredible guitar player, and so I got this from him, and I got many of his guitars, but this particular guitar was in the Hurricane Harvey. If you're familiar with Harvey around here, was a hurricane that was unprecedented as far as how much water it dropped on us. It was crazy amounts. Places that you never even thought would flooded around our area. I'm in Houston area, and it was just, it was something that probably, I think there was more water dumped on Harvey than any hurricane in the history that it's been recorded. It was just, you had to be here to understand. I mean, this is an area that doesn't flood badly. Parts of it does, but my area never does, and we had so many flooded out homes. But what happened was, all my guitars are up. They're up on hangers, wall hangers. You know, I've got lights on some of them. They look like, you know, art pieces, but I play all of them. And I'm a collector. I've collected for years. For those of you who don't know me and hasn't watched videos in the past and you clicked on this video, I've been in this business for 30 years, since August of 1988, since I was a very young man. My dad had a music store, and I grew up in it, and that's all I know. That's what I've done. And so I've collected a lot of guitars over the years, and this was a very sentimental guitar. It was the only guitar that I'd had in a case. I didn't have it on the wall yet. I was making a spot for it in my house, and I left it in a place. Of course, we never flood. Never, ever has flooded here, ever. And I've lived at this house for 13 years that I'm at, and then I've lived 5 minutes down the road in the same area, and we've never had flooding in the area. And of course, nobody expected what happened, but we didn't get a lot of water, but just 6 inches of water. But I wanted to show you what 6 inches of water will do to an instrument. Now, obviously, I don't have to tell most of you guys. You're like, you're probably like, well, gosh, we know water's not good for your instrument, but it doesn't take much and it doesn't take long for it to sit. And the deal is, you know, my reason for making this video is to implore you guys, hey man, if you got guitars, I don't care if it's $500 or $5,000 guitar, first off, if it's sentimental, you can't replace it. But secondly, even if it's not sentimental, it's an expensive piece, let's say, you know, or even if it's not, it's all you have. $500 to a lot of people, that's a lot of money. So, you know, put your guitars up. At least get them 2 to 3 foot off the ground if possible. You know, if you're running out, even if I know you're worried about your family and life more than anything in these hurricanes or whatever it may be, these floods. We have just a lot, sometimes we'll just have big rainstorms and a lot of flooding. Put your stuff up, the things that are really valuable and precious to you, such as anything paper, wood, anything like that. But guitars are definitely no exception. Water is an enemy of a guitar for sure. You know, water, fire, and smoke from a fire, those things will destroy your instruments, guitars especially. None of them even got as much as a nick on them. Everything was safe except for this one, because I had forgotten and I'd left it on the corner of my room that we've never flooded. It got just a little water, about 6 inches, and we didn't have a lot of water. It was just in that one area. It happened to be, I could have put it anywhere else in the house and it would have been fine. This, you know, the money is one thing, but for me, this was sentimental. I would have never gotten rid of it, and I'm still never going to get rid of it. I'm not gonna. This is still a piece now in my house. I actually hang it on the wall. It's a, I guess in a sense, a conversation piece. It's my dad's. It hangs on the wall. You know, it is what it is. You know, it's definitely you know, toast, but I could work it over to a degree, and things are coming up on it, and I have some binding and all kinds of stuff that are obviously loose, but you know, and I don't know, what I'll do later. I doubt I'll do a whole lot, because I don't want to change anything on it. It was his. I don't want to change out all the electronics and everything else. To me, if I'm going to just redo this guitar and it's not really his guitar, to me, that's not, you know, that's not worth it. I know some of you guys will disagree, and that's fine. If it was yours, you could do what you want. But this is what I'm doing with this one. But this was what water will do. And just that one little, it could have 30 seconds. It would have taken me, not even that long, to go take my guitar and make sure everything was safe, whatever it may be. I know at that time you're thinking about getting everything fastened down. You're making sure your family's okay, making sure you have provisions and things like that is what we were thinking about, not about something like this. And this was really the only damage in the storm we got. We got a little bit of water, but it was very minor. This happened with just really a small amount of water. It sat in this case right here. You can't see the case, but this is the original case. And so anyway, wanted to say, you know, tell you a little history on it. My dad got this back in probably 1989 or 90. It's probably around that range. We hadn't had our store too long. My dad had bought the store in 1988. And we have another guitar store friend that's in another city very close to us, and he happened to get it in on a trade-in. And he knew my dad was a Gibson Les Paul fan also, and so he called him and said, "Hey, you know what I got the other day?" Well, my dad said, "Hey, I'm interested in that guitar. Can we come look at it?" So he and I rode over there one day, and he saw it, and I could just see his eyes light up. He wanted it, and of course he played. When he got it, we played the dickens at it. But here's how we got it. We got it on trade. My dad had, we were Martin dealers at the time. My dad had just had a D28, not an HD, but a D28, a standard D28, no herringbone, and also a D35. So there was a 28 and a 35, brand spanking new, literally just out of the box, just out of the case. They were hanging on our walls, and the guy came over there, which owned the store, and brought the guitar, and he picked those out. And so my dad gave him 2 brand new Martins. They were probably 1990, 89 or 90 Martins, brand new, for this guitar, and played the dickens out of it over the years. Loved it, and I didn't even have the heart to tell my dad that this happened. That's how upset I was. My dad has Parkinson's dementia. He's, you know, I didn't feel like he needed the stress. Not that he would stress. He gave it to me, but still, you know, this was one of his favorite guitars. That would have been tough. It was tough on me. I'm not one that cries easy. And I'm not going to lie, my wife, I cried. And literally for two weeks, I mean, I was like mourning. It was almost like a loss of a family member. And I don't want to equate it to human life. I know it's not that bad. I mean, you can replace this kind of stuff to a degree. I know that's sentimental, but it was really rough, man. I literally was disgusted with myself. I was angry at myself. I couldn't even look at the guitar for literally a couple weeks. Finally, I just told myself, man, I got to go in there and pull it out of the case. It's not going to get any better. It's not. Let's look at it. And after I did, I actually said, you know what? I'm going to put it on the wall. I'm going to display it, and that's what I've done. It's at my house hanging, and it's got lights on it. And if people want to ask me about it, I'll tell them the story. But it was, it's still. You know, I'll never get rid of it. But I just wanted to show you guys what just 1 minute of your time to scan and make sure valuables of anything, but especially this is a guitar channel. I'm talking guitars. Your guitars need to be in a safe spot, even if you think it's not going to flood, because I've never had flooding in my entire life in any house we've had, and I've lived here in Deer Park all my life. Never one time have we flooded in any house we've had, not even come close. And we've had some pretty big hurricanes and rains, but this was just a hurricane of a lifetime. I mean, I don't think we'll ever see in my lifetime one that dumped as much water as it did. So this just goes to, you know, this is just a little reminder to you guys to take your stuff, make sure that you get your guitars at least 2 or 3 foot off the ground. If you can get it higher, great, but at least 2 or 3 foot. Usually that's enough to, you know, there's not normally more than 2 foot of water, standing water in the house if you do get it, but or wherever it's at, whether it's a storage building or wherever you have stuff. Hopefully you don't store your guitars in a non-climate controlled place, but whatever it is, just make sure you think about things like that. So anyway, this is what happens, man. I'll show you again. This is just water. This thing was pristine. I mean, when I say pristine, this guitar, you know, had very few blemishes on it. It was just pristine, and it's such a. It still hurts me to look at it. It really, really does. But it is what it is. It's sentimental. I'm keeping it. I wanted to share this with you guys and let you see what water does to things, man. Guitars in particular. And not a lot of water. That's the point. This was only, like I said, maybe 6 inches of water, if that much. And it didn't sit for that long. But it didn't take long. I mean, literally, if you know, the case obviously is not watertight, so it didn't protect it. And really, if you get water on it like that and it's dipped in water for more than really a few minutes, you're in trouble. So anyway, wanted to share this. Again, this is a 1975 Gibson L5 Custom. You know, maybe this will help. Y'all won't have to go through things like this. It doesn't have to be a high-end guitar. It could be just sentimental. It could be a $100 guitar that your dad hadn't played, or your brother, your uncle, or whatever, and they gave it to you, and it's sentimental to you. Or it could be a $10,000 guitar, and it's you are worried about the money, but it doesn't take much. So I just wanted to say that, guys. I'll quit blabbering. I appreciate again you guys for lately the subs have really, you guys have really came on. I know we're still a tiny channel, but we've really grown. We've doubled our subscriber base just in the last really few weeks, and I just wanted to tell you guys thank you so much for giving me a shot and giving us a shot. And if there's anything you want to see or hear from us, put it in the description below and I'll try to do it. If you have any questions, again, comment in the box below. And also, you know, if you like the video, please give it a thumbs up and please consider subscribing, man. I really would love to have you. Just remember, guys, play like it's your last day. We'll see you guys later.